Right now, I want to do something that's really important, maybe the most important, and I want to introduce you to the father of joint venture. It's true. Thank you, Heidi, for helping us. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about Doug Henton. Doug, if you'll just, if you just come with me to the podium. In the early 1990s, folks in Silicon Valley were concerned about the future of the region. We were stuck in a protracted downturn. And there was this historic coming together in which people were wondering what Silicon Valley could do if we should organize differently so that we could hold on to our competitive advantage. And that group of people reached out to Doug Henton. He was at SRA at the time, working with a team that included Kim Wallish, John Melville. They produced a report, a path-breaking report, a history-changing report. It was entitled Silicon Valley, a Region at Risk, and they laid out the factors that were holding us back. And in that report, they opined that Silicon Valley needed an umbrella organization that incorporated all of the sectors and looked carefully at its metrics in a way that was objective and just cold-heartedly rational, and then measured itself against those metrics on a regular basis. And so they made that proposal. The organizers said, well, how about if you create it? And Doug Henton became the father of joint venture. If there is... I'll tell you another thing. So only a few years in, folks said, hey, the data really is important. We need to do this in a Silicon Valley way. We need to look at those metrics. We need to be focused on them. The decision-making needs to be directly linked. The best way to do that is if we go through an exercise of collecting the data and putting it all in one place and making sure that it's objective, that it's neutral, and that everybody can rely upon it. And so Doug Henton invented what is now known as the Silicon Valley Index, and that was 32 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, on the joint ventures Mount Rushmore, Doug Henton is our George Washington. Yes. Yes. So we invited Doug back 32 years later, and we're so grateful to have you on our stage.
Thanks, Russ.
You're a personal hero to me. It's a privilege to acknowledge my substantial personal debts to you. Thank you, Doug, for everything you mean to me, to us, and to this region. We're really interested in your thoughts.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, Doug.
For recognizing me today. I also want to acknowledge my former colleagues, Kim Wallish, who's here today, and John Melville, who participated with me to produce the first report. I also want to mention that Brendan Rawson, who's here today, worked for us on that report. Thank you, Brendan. John is on jury duty today. He's such a civic-minded person, he can't be here. He can't be here today. I also want to thank Becky Morgan, and the founding generation of Joint Venture Silicon Valley for their support and commitment. To me, the index has never been just a report published at the annual State of the Region. From the beginning, it's been a catalyst and a tool for leaders to raise awareness and drive action. It's my fervent hope that it continues to play that role in the years ahead. So what led to the index? In the early 90s, Silicon Valley experienced a recession after a decade of rapid growth. The causes included defense cuts, competition by Japan in the semiconductor industry, slow permitting, K-12 educational disparities. Several major employers were expanding outside of the valley, including Applied Materials to Austin. Jim Morgan, then the CEO of Applied Materials, along with the San Jose Chamber of Commerce, asked my team at SRI to study the problem. We diagnosed a culture of blame, where business was blaming government and government was blaming business for the valley's problems. We recommended the formation of Joint Venture Silicon Valley, a collaboration between business, local government to address the valley's challenges. The vision was to create a community collaborating to compete globally. Valley leaders answered the call. They formed working groups and designed 13 initiatives led by business, government, and education leaders. These initiatives were included in a blueprint for a 21st century community, which recommended an annual index to measure progress and report results. In 1993, Becky Morgan left the California State Senate to become the first president of Joint Venture to implement the blueprint and the initiatives. Millions of dollars were raised to drive educational improvements, economic development changes, permit streamlining, including electronic permitting, and applying the first generation of the internet to commerce and schools. John Melville, Kim Walsh, and I documented this story and others across the country in our book, Grassroots Leaders for a New Economy. The very first index was released in 1994 conference, Valley Conference. Since then, the annual index has tracked jobs and venture capital in evolving industries of defense, semiconductor, computer hardware, software, internet, social media, and as we heard today, AI. Also reporting community indicators such as income, education, housing, environment, and arts and culture. Over the past 32 years, among other things, the index has revealed two major paradoxes facing the valley. First, while the economy experiences growth, income inequality has also increased. Second, job growth continues to outpace housing starts, leading to an affordability problem. You could say that our abundance has created both enormous opportunities but also enduring challenges. The work is never done. In closing, I want to leave you with an ask. Put the index to work. Use it to educate, build coalitions for action, and carry on the great Silicon Valley tradition of civic entrepreneurship, following in the footsteps of the founding generation of joint venture leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's deeply meaningful to have you here, Doug.